Ascension Parish Council meeting for September 21st, 2017 is called to order. We have invocation and the pledge, and Ms. Dawson, you mind doing the invocation? Please stand. Bow our heads.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for all that you do for us, all the blessings you bestow upon us, the gifts that you give us. And during this time when we had so much devastation in other areas, we thank you for your protection upon Ascension Parish and its residents. We also pray that you help and bless those that are going through so much. We pray that the resources will be there, and anything they need that you will provide. We pray for your guidance as you take us through this meeting tonight, for your wisdom, which you say that you give unto anyone that would ask. So again, we thank you for the continued blessing upon this parish and its people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, roll call. Mr. Bill Dawson is not present. Everyone else is present. Public comment sign-in period. If you wish, you can pick up one of the green cards or red card and give it to the secretary to speak. Moving to item number 5. Presentation, proclamation for Horns and Plenty Health Food Store, 40 years of business. Mr. President.
Good evening. I would like to call up Ms. Sharon Skinner and family. We have a proclamation here for Ms. Sharon and family, who is the Horn of Plenty business, and they are 40 years old. Whereas a Horn of Plenty Health Food Store Incorporated was founded in Gonzales in September of 1977 by Vernon and Clara Adams, and whereas Horn of Plenty Health Food Store opened originally in the East Bank Shopping Center and later moved to Amity Plaza before finally setting in their current location at 623 East Ascension Street, where they have been located for 31 years. And whereas Sharon Skinner took over operation of the store from her parents, after which Sharon's daughter, Tammy Barrow, managed the store, followed by Tammy's daughter, Caitlin Stewart. Now Tammy's son, Adam Howell, is the store manager, making him the foundation to operate the Horn of Plenty food store. And whereas Horn of Plenty Health Food Store offers organic, non-GMO dairy supplies, dietitian supplies, food, education materials, and specializes in herbalization. And whereas as their 40th year in business, Horn of Plenty Health Food Store has outlasted a number of national competitors by operating a tailored retail experience from a staff with a background in health and nutrition. Now, therefore, I, Kenny Matassa, President of Ascension Parish, State of Louisiana, by virtue and authority invested in me, do hereby proclaim September 21st, 2017 as Horn of Plenty Health Food Store Day in Ascension Parish, and calling all of the citizens to celebrate the success and longevity of this local-owned business. Thank y'all so much. Would you like to say a few words?
Just want to say thank you to Mr. Matassa and the City Council and the parish at large for this honor. It's going for 40 years is quite a thing, even for a larger store. And we've just going to stick to our principles of keeping our quality of service and hopefully we'll continue this on for future generations.
Well, we thank you so much, and, you know, I tell you what, if you go in there, these people are so knowledgeable. So I'll go in there and I'll say, well, I got this wrong with me. It's almost like going to the doctor, and it's all natural stuff, and it does, I promise you, it helps. So anyway, we appreciate y'all very much, and let's take a picture. Hang Lottie, where's he at?
Right here. You want to get your staff, look, let's get back over here, please, so I got a little room. Your staff wants to come for a photograph? I've got room for you. Haley. Okay, we need, I need everyone please to shift that away. John, keep going, keep going. I think that looks, I think I can squeeze some in there. Ready? Everyone look healthy. Beautiful. Let me give you a paper there.
Moving on to item number 6, Parish President Report. Mr. President?
Well, we have on the agenda tonight, let's see, what is it, number 12? You know, a good while back when we had the flood, I came to you and asked to have the fees waived for the people that got flooded. And it's on number 11, and I asked you to approve for commercial. I thought it was approved, but we looked it up, and it's not. So we're just looking to add those people that got flooded to help them. They still need permits, but we're not charging the residential. I'd like not to charge the commercials also. But anyway, that's going to be on number 11. Other than that, I had a meeting at the Capitol. I was almost late getting here by the traffic in Baton Rouge, not Ascension now, which it was a meeting about the co-meet, and you know, they don't have any money, and they're looking for money, and Livingston was there in East Baton Rouge, and all I told them was Ascension has always paid their fair share. We do have some money, but like I told them, we got $100 million worth of projects, not $33 million. So we will meet some more about it, and they're trying to get it off the ground. That's all I have tonight. Thanks. Well, oh, wait. That's everybody. Do not forget about the Balloon Festival, which starts tomorrow. Anybody that wants to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, they'll be there with tune in. But I think the weather's hopefully going to cooperate, and be back bigger and better than ever. You know, last year we had the flood, so people need to have a good time, and hopefully they'll come out. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. All right, moving on to item number 7, the consent agenda item. We have some speakers, and
Mr. Chairman, real quick, I'm going to abstain from the consent agenda due to one of the items on there.
all right, thank you. Ms. Secretary? All right. We have Ms. Luann Williams.
Sorry. Hi.
Ma'am, I just want to let, she is speaking on item 7U. 7U.
For the ITEP exemptions, what's happening here tonight is not normal. Ascension Council is considering property tax exemptions that would redirect $55 million in revenue from public entities to private corporations. The identity of the 4 companies requesting these subsidies are being withheld from the public. The projects are being described in only the most generic of terms. They are being identified by code names such as Project Magnolia, Zinnia, Sunflower, Sunflower Seed, and Bagel. What do we know about Project Bagel? That's a major employer looking to expand chemical capabilities, and that's it. On that flimsy basis, local officials are being asked to approve public subsidies that will result in $55 million in foregone revenue. Ascension Parish Schools would lose $30 million. Its drainage and levee systems would lose $5 million, and other parish entities would lose another $20 million. The corporations requesting these public subsidies have not been required to demonstrate that their projects are in any way dependent upon them receiving the exemptions. Construction has already begun on at least 2 of these projects months ago. We're being asked to believe that an incentive is required for projects that are already taking place. This isn't normal. It's not how public decisions are made or should be made anywhere else in the country. AEDC has justified its practices of non-disclosure and secrecy by claiming this confidentiality is a requirement of the state. It is not. In fact, the state just added a sunshine provision to its ITEP program rules. It requires not secrecy or anonymity, but the companies disclose openly to the public for posting on the state's website when they are seeking local support for industrial tax exemptions. That sunshine provision is being disregarded along with every other norm of transparency and public disclosure. This isn't normal and it's not legal. At an Ascension Parish School Board hearing on this yesterday, a veteran teacher in Ascension Parish said, "As teachers, we are required to have standards and we embrace that because we know standards are essential to being accountable to the public." These companies are requesting millions of dollars in public subsidies and they are being asked to meet no standards whatsoever. The item under consideration tonight, a decision to approve $55 million in public subsidies, has been put on the consent agenda. It is not the consent of the governed. The school board acted wisely, deferring it so they could research the issue more thoroughly. This council should do likewise.
Thank you. Mr. Ronald Whitmer.
I don't know. Yeah.
My name is Ron Whitmer. I am a retired Episcopal priest, but not retired. Practices of secrecy and non-disclosure are not acceptable for democratic governments. They are not normal, and if they begin to be treated as normal, something important erodes in the culture of our democratic institutions. Ascension Parish should end these practices of secrecy and non-disclosure. Ascension Parish should establish clear, objective standards that projects must meet to receive the parish's support for exemptions, and then make its decisions upon those standards. Anything short of that is not normal and should not continue. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We also have next speaker is Mr. Ronnie J. Daigle.
Good evening, Council. I am representing the Chamber of Commerce in Ascension Parish, and we are in support of this industry exemption. Obviously, we support the school board, industry supports the school board supports industry. And I just want to make something really clear that what we are doing and what we have done in this parish is very successful. We have great schools. We have great industry. There's communities all around us that would love to have what we have. So we're doing good things, and let's not separate us. We support you as we support industry in the schools. Thank you.
Next speaker would be Ms. Sheila Hidalgo.
Hi. My name is Sheila Hidalgo. I'm a member of Mr. Cluat's district, and I have lived in Ascension Parish for over 20 years. My husband is a lifelong resident and has been a teacher in Ascension for over 20 years, and my daughter goes to Santa Ma High School. Everyone I know in this parish enjoys the great parish we live in and the life they have because of the jobs available at many different manufacturing sites. That diversity in manufacturing types is what keeps us steady in economic downtimes. I'm originally from Houma. I left Houma because of the lack of jobs. Because when there's a downturn in the oil industry, there is nothing left there. So, with that said, the diversity here is what keeps Ascension strong, all the different types of manufacturers. So, and it's not just the many types of manufacturers, it's all the support services, restaurants, hotels, etc., that benefit from that industry. To keep the diverse manufacturers coming and expanding in the parish, it is essential we keep governmental taxes and incentives stable, or we lose out to other areas, other countries, other cities, other states. Companies want to go where the business environment is stable. As you know, ITEP doesn't redirect revenue. We wouldn't get these projects if we weren't competitive. Not to mention all the other tax revenue the parish gets during these projects, from sales and use tax to all the trickle effect of the people here that are spending money at our stores and our restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next person is Mr. Tom Urick.
Thank you, Parish Council. My name is Tom Urim, the Site General Manager for BASF here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf. As BASF, we're the parish's second largest employer, second to obviously to St. Elizabeth, as well as representing over 500 employees who work at BASF who live in Ascension Parish, and over 200 indirects, contractors, and others who support. So 700 people that depend upon our installation every day. ITEP issue is an issue that is changed, right, out of the governor's directive and bringing many of those attributes of approval to locals, right? And so part of this is an educational process, part of it is just an understanding, and I know that there's growing pains, and especially as we saw in school board, people that didn't sign up to be part of the economic development now are. With that said, it's not myself, it's not industry, it's not an individual company that has developed the ITEP program. It was established by Louisiana Economic Development, the great men and women who bring industry, who bring jobs, and who bring the creation, the growth of the economy. It's AEDC, our local economic development professionals, who in fact craft these documents that allow us to help compete for capital projects. A couple of the things that you continue to hear over and over again is secrecy. Why is there secrecy in name? It's very, very clear why there is secrecy in name. When you look at the projects and the projects that are not approved, if it would be known that any of the industry by name or a company by name is actively pursuing an investment in such detail that our suppliers, our competitors, or other people could therefore know what we are doing ahead of time before we receive approval from our boards of directors and receive the capital, that jeopardizes our business, that jeopardizes our investors, that jeopardizes our ability to compete, right? Secrecy is not done from name to create this veil of mystery. AEDC, LED, those are who we directly work with. Those are the appointed state officials and local officials who look at us and determine if what we're going to invest, if the jobs that we are going to create are worth it, then they support us. Another thing you'll hear is, well, 99.8% of these packages are approved. Well, that's because they've been vetted by AEDC and LED. They're not going to bring to the state, to the Board of Commerce and Industry, projects that don't meet the criteria. No accountability. That's also an absolute fallacy. Whether it's through LED, whether through AEDC, they set stringent requirements. If we don't meet those requirements, the incentives that we've been granted are given back. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mona Foster.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and a special hello to my councilman, Councilman Satterley. I live in Prairieville. Tom, my boss, said it all too well, but I wanted to share just a couple of thoughts. I relocated to Louisiana from Raleigh, North Carolina, a little over a year ago. The thing that was exciting about living in Raleigh, North Carolina, and working for BASF out in the Research Triangle Park, it was known as the Silicon Valley on the East Coast. So we were really excited about the educational opportunities, the work opportunities, the business opportunities that those companies afforded us. The thing that I love about living in Ascension Parish, and again working for BASF here, is that the chemical industry is that same type of partner that biotech was at Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. The chemical industry works hand in hand with the school board, with the parish council to ensure that there are good jobs, growth, and development within the parish. And so I'm just asking you to support consent agenda item U. I have an 11-year-old daughter who's in Central Middle School, a 9-year-old son who's in Duplessis Primary School. I'm hoping one day he'll have one of these good jobs at BASF. Thank you very much.
That is all the speakers. We had 6 people not to speak in favor of it, and we had 5 people not to speak not in favor of it. And I'm making all part of those part of the record. Ms. Secretary, can you read the consent agenda?
Resolution to authorize advertisement for RFQ for architectural design for East Bank Courthouse. Award subject to approval for increase of filing fees as provided by LARS 13996 by the Louisiana Judicial Commission, and to return to council for authority to retain said design professional upon approval of the Louisiana Bond Commission. Engagement letter 2017 audit Falcon Winkler. Engagement letter Louisiana Legislative Auditor statewide agreed upon procedures. Amendment to professional services contract with Damian Johnson. Renewal of contract with Tetra Tech Inc. for disaster-related debris monitoring and related services. Approval of contract with Ralph's Market, second year of request for proposals. Renewal of professional services contract with DRC Emergency Services LLC for disaster-related debris removal. Renewal of contract with Tetra Tech Inc. for grants, management, and administration and associated project management activities. Intergovernmental agreement between Ascension Parish Government, Ascension Parish Fire District Number 1, and the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office. Ascension Parish Government's total contribution $54,000. Approval of contract amendment with Mutual Architecture for design of Santa Maria Volunteer Fire Department Station 60. Approval of contract amendment with Fresh Architecture Consulting LLC to extend contract to December 31st, 2017, and add $20,000 to the total contract amount. Approval of amendment number 1 to contract between BFI Waste Services LLC doing business as Republic Services and Parish of Ascension to increase the not-to-exceed amount of $130,000. Bid item to accept lowest responsive bid, crack sealing material, Covington Sales and Service, Inc., 72 cents per pound. Approval of RFQ for owner's rep and advisory services, East Bank Regional Sanitary Sewer System, CSRS, not to exceed $150,000. Approval of change order number 2 for ENG 14023, St. Landry Edenborn Connector Road for an additional $15,000 for lime material and an additional 45 days added to the contract due to adverse weather. Resolution ENG 2017-102 project commitment for STBG 200K funding for fiscal years 2020, 2021, 2022. A commitment of local matching funds of 20% towards 6 proposed preventative maintenance, preservation, and safety projects. Approval of task order number 3 under the master contract for general engineering consulting services, transportation plan development and implementation for right-of-way acquisition services for 2 projects in Ascension Parish that are being developed through the LADOTD process for a not-to-exceed amount of $155,000. Approval of task order number 4 under the master contract for general engineering consulting services, transportation master plan development and implementation for environmental services for the Move Ascension initiative for not to exceed amount of $291,500. Approval of contract amendment to the general engineering consulting services, transportation master plan development and implementation to include task order number 3, right-of-way acquisition services, and task order number 4, environmental services, for a total not to exceed amount of $2,400,875. Roads for acceptance into the parish maintenance system, Legacy Oaks subdivision first filing, Legacy Lake Drive 260 feet, Legacy Oaks Lane 1458 feet, Keystone of Galvez 7th and 8th filing, Mossy Stone Avenue 1220 feet, Baystone Avenue 2526 feet, Pebblestone Avenue 1207 feet. Adopt resolutions to award industrial tax exemption at levels recommended by the Ascension Economic Development Board for the following projects: Project Magnolia, Project Zinnia, Project Bagel, Project Sunflower Seed.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Motions by Mr.
Second.
Cagliari. Y'all know I'm gonna get y'all names mixed up tonight. And second by Ms. Terry Cazzo. No objection? Consent.
I don't have objection. I'd like to make a comment, Mr. Chairman.
You got it, Mr.
We can have a
Dodd.
discussion?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number, need my cheaters here. Apologize. N, the approval of the RQ for the owner's rep on the sewer.
Okay, then. Do you have a question on it?
Yeah,
Administration?
can we get a little more, two things. I'd like a little more clarity about what we need the rep for right now, as far as what programs are in the works that they would be advising us on. But equally important to me, I just want to make this comment. We have 5 people responding to this: CSRS, Stantec, Burke, Kleinpeta, Linfield, and Stewart. And we had our professional engineering committee take a look at that. That's fine and well and good. But once again, Mr. Chairman, I'm getting sums of the results of the scoring by the, I guess, 4 or 5 judges as opposed to their individual scores. And I've asked over and over and over again. I really would like to see, I mean, I'm going to vote with this tonight, I'll just tell you right now, but I really would like in the future to be getting those individual scores so that I could perform, some statistical testing to decide whether or not the top 2 or 3 or whatever, when you have clustering, whether that sum score is meaningful once you divide by the number of judges involved in them. So that's the comment. Okay, I'm not asking you to pull it out, anything like that. I would also like someone to just address before we vote on item number U, it's inside the consent agenda again, since we had all the public testimony tonight, both in support, looks like it's pretty evenly balanced, and against. May explain why APSB has actually deadlocked and decided to defer. But the only thing that I got out of all the testimony tonight, beyond what I can read in the newspapers, Mr. Chairman, is that I would like to see, can anyone address this new sunshine provision law that I believe the first speaker, apologize, didn't capture the name, talked about? I understand, Mr. Foster, in my district, glad you're here tonight, sir. Appreciated your testimony, not because you're in my district per se, but I'm very familiar with the research. Triangle Park in North Carolina, I've done research with them in a former life, and I know what they mean to that area, and I know what the petrochemical industry does mean to this area. So on the other side of the fence, I also understand secrecy for the BSF gentleman that testified and others. Doing patented research at the university myself and doing licensing work with major immunopharmaceutical companies and small R&D companies, I understand how you can't necessarily always disclose who's doing what because other companies are in competition with you and so forth. But just want to be sure, can someone tonight assure everyone that we're operating within the law with this new sunshine law about this secrecy issue? And Mr. Chairman, you can recognize whoever you would like to answer that question.
Kate from Ascension Economic Development.
Thank you. We asked that same question to Louisiana Economic Development and specifically to their legal counsel that drafted the administrative policy for the ITEP program. And their official response is that LED's position is that the rules do not require every company to send a written request for approval. Instead, this was placed in the rules for those companies who were having trouble getting locals to respond or consider their request. This provision gives those companies an avenue in which to get on the locals' agenda or provide a solution to what happens if they fail to act. So that way, companies don't stay in limbo, and they gave 120 days for the local governing authorities to respond if an industry wasn't having any luck getting a resolution for or against their proposed exemption.
Thank you.
Yep.
Doc?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. Lighten the thing up a little bit. In my work at LSU, I had a code name too. It was Project ISIS. And since it's all academic now because I didn't become a rich man off of it or anything, before you think it has anything to do with the current day ISIS, it was the goddess of fertility in Egyptian times, because I had developed a vaccine to increase egg laying in chickens. But trust me, I understand the secrecy, and we literally use that name. The university was not allowed to use the Emerald Pharmaceutical Company's name. The company was not allowed to use LSU's name or my name, et cetera. So, but I wanted everybody tonight, Mr. Chairman, to be sure that they understand this council is not going to disobey a sunshine law or whatever, and I have empathy for the people who believe it's that way. But I and this council don't make those laws, but as long as we operate within them, then Mr. Chairman, I'm comfortable.
Okay. So that motion carried forward with no objection.
I was only discussing. I didn't tell you I was going to pull anything out.
Just want to move forward, Doc.
Yeah.
All right? Already approved it. Yeah, good. So Doc was just a question. Thanks, Doc. All right.
Thank you.
Moving to general business, item 8, approval of RFQ, Trailer Easy Load Series Eagle Beaver 24-foot Truck and Transportation Equipment Company Incorporated, Ms. Joan Shevers.
Good evening. On August 31st, 2017, the Purchasing Department received 3 bids for a Trailer Easy Loader Series Eagle Beaver 24 feet. After review, the Purchasing Department and East Ascension Drainage recommend accepting the lowest responsive bid submitted by Truck and Transportation Equipment Company, and to authorize the parish president to begin contract negotiations for this
All right.
equipment.
Motion by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Lawless. Any objection? Any question? Motion move forward.
Thank you.
Denny, I know you're looking at me. What I did wrong?
You good?
We good. Keep going.
We good.
Keep going.
Outstanding.
All right. I'm not Bill Dawson, all right? Item number.
Thank you.
Item number 9, resolution to establish a position for Infrastructure Division Director. Salary range shall be from $104,000 to $135,000 yearly. Market range. Administration or anyone have any?
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Lawless, second by Ms. Terry. No objection? Question?
Question.
Yes.
Right. I would just like the record there is no scope in my packet. Therefore, I'm confident no one else has it either, what this job is. I think I know what it is because I've talked to some people behind the scenes, but I think the public is entitled to know that as well, especially since we just had a discussion on secrecy. And not only that, it says resolution. There's no resolution in my packet, no language there either. And so is this resolution to ourselves? Because obviously we have laws on the books where we can create a division director at any given time based on 2/3 votes of this deliberative body. So what does this position of infrastructure division director entail responsibility-wise? What's the vision going forward? If we're going to pass a resolution, we need to see it here tonight.
Doc, I
Mr.
will
Chairman,
forward that to
I would let
administration.
you.
Administration. Doc, I have a question.
The position, as you remember at the special finance committee meeting, there was an organizational chart that talked about divisional positions and basically the tasks that were directed under those particular positions. This infrastructure position is one that will house utility and also house, the transportation, that is the planning of all the kind of the move ascension type items as we move forward with that particular project, those projects. I'm not saying that that is the final analysis because, we know that there's a work in progress until we move forward. But there is a need to get on board utility director to take on the vast amount of tasks that's associated with that position, including with the approval of just moving forward with doing something with the East Bank sewer systems. We just spoken with our engineering representative that will be moving forward with the approval of SRF funding. And we also know about the 22 project that's doing all, so we got to have that person in place to be able to assist with that, and also to assist with a permanent position that will deal with the vast amount of transportation projects associated with the Move Ascension. It will be under that person's direction.
Okay, Doc, that's,
Yeah, a follow-up then, Ken, so it's utilities and transportation, we now know that. Under the category of utilities, does that include both sewer and potable water, since we purchase of people water, okay?
And anything else we task him to do
Okay, and,
in the infrastructure.
okay, and just out of curiosity, is this recommendation coming to this council and we're acting upon it from administration? Did it come from SSA? Did it come from this council?
We did consult with SSA on the job description and the creation of this particular role, and we went back and forth to let them know what our needs were concerning the job or the role this person would have. So yes, it's been highly discussed. We really tasked them with defining the role, but making it general enough so that when the organizational chart is truly established, that it would encompass all the aspects of the council and the administration's needs.
Okay, so Ms. Wesley, could I get a scope or job description for this position?
Yes, I can definitely email that to you.
Appreciate it. And a national search to fill this position, or do we have someone in mind?
There will be a national search.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
all right, Ms. Castle.
Just one question. I was wondering, is there a reason why we are at a point of motion tonight, and that we have not actually moved to ordinance on this?
There is, in order for us to move forward, even with the search and be able to offer a position, the position has to be established. So that's why we are moving forward. If we didn't have a dire need for someone to handle the vast amount of responsibilities in the utility department dealing with water and wastewater, we probably wouldn't be doing, we probably would be waiting on this. But at this particular time, we feel that we can't.
So we'll see an ordinance?
Yes.
At some point in
Yes.
the near future?
Yes, and that's what's been with SSA and with our HR department.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Mr. Cluett.
Well, I applaud you for bringing this to the agenda, and I'm going to tell you the position and the amount of responsibility that we have moving forward in Parish, that the infrastructure, you included sewer and water, but everything on the roads, as we saw on Highway 73 and Highway 42, that we need to look at it as the term infrastructure.
Sir,
Because
absolutely.
we don't do a road without doing sewer and water.
Yes, sir.
And that's the bottom line. We've had some great people that were parish employees that have worked and filled in and tried and done things in these departments, and we need to continue to move forward with a professional that's qualified to do this. Thank y'all.
Got Mr. Turner.
So how does this position coincide with the drainage director?
I mean, he can deal with any infrastructure, and drainage is infrastructure. We never came up with who he was going to be over yet. Like, is he going to be over DPW? Is he going to be over the roads? He's going to be over. He can deal with. We want to hire a person that's knowledgeable about all the infrastructure, and we will craft it out and put him on the flow chart. And at this time we don't know exactly who he's going to be over or what. You know what I'm saying, Travis?
All right, hold on, Doc. I got Mr. Lambert, and then I got Mr. Lawless, okay? And then I'm coming back to you, Doc.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to let you know, me and my Mr. Todd Lambert been around here a good while. Believe me, this position we have been looking for and searching for a long time. I'm gonna commit 100 to 135,000. Good luck if you find one. This position is held in other counties, other parishes. You're looking at about $175 to $200,000 a year. This person that'll come here, he's not gonna be too popular. He's gonna tell you things that, especially dealing with water. This is the utility that we put in our body. I mean, we have to be careful with this. Mr. Oliver here, he's had some close calls over there in Donaldsonville. We have to watch what we're doing with this, but I'm telling you, the salary is low. And, if you can get someone for that, hey, go for it. But we have been looking, and Mr. Sally, I mean, we've been looking for a while for someone for this. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Long.
If I may add, I'm a very big proponent of this, and I know I've talked to the administration about it. We are about to embark on millions of dollars worth of transportation work. That includes the road work. That includes the sewage that goes along with it, the drainage on the roads, safety requirements. That includes how we can best utilize our local tax dollars to obtain state and federal dollars to do this work. That is why this position is needed. We're embarking on the transportation project is something this parish hasn't seen probably in decades. This is something that's somewhat new to the parish, and we need somebody that can oversee all of this and can touch the drainage, can touch the sewage, can touch the transportation, road, and safety. That is why we need this position. Hopefully we're going to find the very best person for the job, and I have confidence that we can. That's why this position is important.
All right, Don.
Yeah, two things. One on something that Mr. President, that our president said, and one in reference to what Mr. Dempsey Lambert said. We don't know who he is yet. How do we even know it's a he? How do we know the individual that's yet to be identified?
I wouldn't want to put a lady in this position.
Mr. Chairman.
Not disgrace, not disgrace.
Let's get it in order.
Mr. Chairman, I believe I have the floor, and I would recommend striking Mr. Lambert's comment from the record, but that's up to him. How do we know it's a he? Is it just a Freudian slip? I mean, that's fine. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we don't.
You're correct. All right, so we don't know. It is a national search. I mean, we're telling the world tonight we're going to do that. And what Mr. Lambert said is absolutely true. We've been needing this for a long time, and I think it's also no doubt what he said, that the salary is too low. I would concur with that. Good luck with getting someone. So that brings up the issue of, it says in my packet, one piece of information I do have, market range, $104,000 to $135,000. Where did we get that market range? And who's we? Is that SSA telling us that we can find someone for that?
Let me tell you what, I've been talking with SSA about this position almost the whole time, and she put some feelers out there, and we had a couple respondees to it, and pretty good respondees. And that was the range that they said that if they came to work for Ascension, that's what it would take. We didn't offer no jobs or whatever, but
yeah, I'm not. I'm not feeler is out there without.
No, in other words,
that's why I'm asking. Can I see the job script open? All. I mean, if that were in the packet, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Well, with this particular scope, we have to consider also the regional factors. For this particular role, it's typically held in larger public entities. And so the scale of the range would be larger because of the size of those particular organizations. So we felt that within this particular scale of the Parish of Ascension, going toward the lower to mid-range would be more responsible than expanding it out past a comfortable salary.
Yep.
Oh.
And so, Ms. Wesley, you're confident that this two-headed beast, so to speak, exists? Somebody who has enough expertise to actually lead us in utilities as well as in transportation?
I believe the way the job description is created and the language that it's used, I believe that it'll attract those who have those skills, have experience with those skills, and know how to direct and lead departments of on large-scale projects.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Okay, I know I passed this already, right?
No.
Nope. Okay.
I think I stopped you in time this time.
Okay, good, then, all right.
It's good to have discussion.
We didn't
before.
have no
Always let's have
objection?
discussion before we vote.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
No objection? Okay, motion passed. All right, item number 10, approval of contract with MB Design to provide engineering design on extending of the roof between barn 7 and 8 at Lamora Dixon, not to exceed $35,000.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
A quick discussion.
Go ahead, Mr. Kruwa.
I appreciate it if y'all move expediently, because we're in the fall. We're coming up on the parish, district, and state livestock shows. And this move is gonna take and work good with the LSU Livestock Association and LSU, and take them out of that building to where we can all live peacefully and not have any arbitration at the end.
And the main customer is going to be the pigs.
Yes.
Okay. But you're right, Mr. Cloyd. That's why we're rocking and rolling on it, and we got several people who are going to bid on it, so.
As a parent, I just want to let you know, historically, I appreciate the pigs because they
I agree
paid
with
for
you.
the money I lost on the horse during the horse show season. And even Doc can appreciate the horses.
Todd motion, made the first motion. Second was Cagliari. Any objection? Motion forward. Item number 11, resolution to suspend permitting fees for repair of commercial building damaged by the flood of August 2016.
Motion.
Second.
Any question?
And this is a motion to amend the original resolution we had.
Doc, got a question on the end?
Not a question, just a comment. This is a resolution like earlier, except this time the resolution's in my packet and I can read it, so it's clear that we want to support this.
All right.
And one of our,
I'm trying to dock you through.
I'm done, yes, sir.
All right.
One
Mr. Clark.
one of our biggest customers there that we're gonna try to help is the school system, and work with those guys and get these children out of the T buildings and back into some regular classrooms and have some regular lifestyles. And we, even in the area, I represent a large rural area, but we have scores of small businesses that were devastated. And anything we can do to help those guys, we appreciate it.
All right. Randy made the original first motion. Second was by Mr. Cagliari. Any objection? No objection, move forward. All right. Moving to planning and zoning recommendation, item number 12. Zoning review ID 1396.17, 11.43 acres for Floyd George Acosta and Brenda Acosta, located on the north side of LA Highway 1 South, approximately 575 feet east of Fontana Road, to request amendment to the Ascension Parish zoning and map media intensity residential, RM, to mixed use, MU. Zoning Commission recommend denial. Any questions?
Motion to accept the recommendation to deny.
Motion by Mr.
second
Bennett, second by Doc. Any objection? Motion approved.
Councilman Joseph, you have speakers on this item.
Oh,
Speakers.
you're correct. I'm sorry. Got caught up in it. I have Ms. St. Germain, you don't mind?
Good evening, Council. I'm Jean St. Germain, and I was just coming to speak not in favor of the rezoning for this item, as it's also near my home, and we're trying to protect the rural area and the rural zoning as it is. And it is also adjacent to the current zoning violation that needs addressing, which is next to my home. So I wanted to be firm about that this is all in the same area and it's rural and it needs to stay rural and we need to protect it and keep it that way. Thank you.
And Mr. Barry St. Germain.
I'm back again. I think she pretty much said it all. Y'all know where it's at. It is adjacent to the current situation that we're still dealing with, and we pretty much know the reason for the rezoning. I don't think I need to say any more. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right. Ms. Secretary, I think we already accept the motion, right? Okay, so we moving on. Introduction of ordinance, item 13. Introduction of ordinance to declare surplus and transfer assets for computer pursuant to a cooperative endeavor agreement with the St. James Airport and Transportation Authority.
Motion introduced.
Second.
All right. No objection? Motion accepted. Item number 14, introduction of ordinance to declare surplus and authorization of sale and/or transfer of miscellaneous movable equipment.
Motion introduced, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right. Mr. Cagliani, second by Ms. Terry. No objection? Motion is approved. Item number 15, introduction of ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from Conservation C to Medium Intensity Residential, RM. Zoning Review ID PZ-1331.17-Z for American Homeland LLC, located on the west side of South St. Landry Road, approximately 2,000 feet south of Holland Hill Drive.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Turner, second by Ms. Terry. Any objection? Motion is accepted. Moving on to public hearing ordinance, item 16. Reading of ordinance to relocate voting precinct 33 from Santamore Middle School back to its original location at Santamore Primary School.
To relocate precinct 33 from Santamore Middle School back to its original location at Santamore Primary School, whereas due to the great flood of 2016 and an emergency move, precinct 33 had to be relocated from Santamore Primary to Santamore Middle School, whereas renovations and construction to the Santamore Primary School are now complete and precinct location can now be moved back to the original location. Therefore, be it ordained that the Ascension Parish Council hereby moves precinct 33 temporarily located at Santamore Middle School due to the great flood of 2016 back to its original location at Santamore Primary School, 44365 Louisiana Highway 429, Santamore, Louisiana. Be it further ordained that a certified copy of this ordinance be sent to the Louisiana Secretary of State, P.O. Box 94125, Baton Rouge, 70804-9125. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Open to public comment.
Motion to open public comment by Doc, second by Mr. Todd Lambert.
Motion to close.
Motion to close is by Mr. Doc Sally, second by Mr. Cagliani.
Move the ordinance.
Move the ordinance is by Mr. Todd Lambert. Second by Mr. Cagliani. Any objection? Any question? Motion approved. Item number 19, reading of ordinance to add section 2-83, extending professional service contract to Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2 of the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinance.
To add section 283, existing professional services contract to Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2, Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances. Whereas section 602, enactment of an ordinance permits the parish to make and amend an ordinance as it may deem necessary to proper and good government order, protections of persons and property, and for the preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of the parish and its inhabitants. Whereas the Ascension Parish Council desires to add section 283, existing professional service contracts, to Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2, the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances. Now therefore be it ordained the Ascension Parish Governing Authority in the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, to add section 283, existing professional services contract in Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2 of the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, as further described in Exhibit B attached hereto and made a part hereof. If any section, subsection, sentence, clause, phrase, or portion of this ordinance is for any reason held invalid or unconstitutional by any court or federal or state agency of competent jurisdiction, such portion shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provisions, and such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of thereof. This ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law. The ordinance submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Open public comment.
Motion by Dr. Open public comment. Second by Councilman Cagalani.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Doc Sadler. Second by Mr. Cagalani. Ordinance. Move the ordinance by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Mr. Cagalani. Any objection? Motion. Moving to item number 22, reading of ordinance to revoke an existing 15-foot drainage servitude located across the middle of Lot B-1 of Joseph E. Broke property.
To revoke an existing 15-foot drainage servitude located across the middle of Lot B1 of the Joseph E. Broke property as depicted on Earls and Associates LLC plat map dated May 8, 2012, instrument number 797826. Whereas the petition is petitioning the Ascension Parish Council to revoke an existing drainage servitude located across the middle of Lot B1 of the Joseph E. Broke property depicted on a Earls and Associates LLC plat map dated May 2012, instrument number 797826. Whereas the Planning Department, Engineering Department, and all relevant utility companies have reviewed and researched the request and have no objection to the revocation. The Ascension Parish Council hereby ordains that it grants approval of the revocation of the existing drainage servitude located across the middle of Lot B1 of the Joseph E. Broke property as depicted on Earls and Associates LLC plat map dated May 2012, instrument number 797826, attached hereto and made a part hereof as Exhibit A. Repeal all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby and henceforth repealed. If any provision of this ordinance is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect other provisions herein, which shall be given effect without the invalid provisions. To this end, the provisions of the ordinance are hereby declared to be severable. The ordinance shall be effective 15 days after adoption. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Motion. Open the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Lambert, second by Ms. Cazzo.
Motion to close.
Motion by Mr. Cagalani, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Ordinance.
Motion to move the ordinance.
If I'm not next item I'm thinking about. Move the ordinance by Mr. Cagalani.
Second.
Second by Ms. Terry Cazzo. Any question? Motion approved. Item number 25, reading of ordinance to amend section 17-4092, appeal hearing, the procedure, procurement to Appendix 4, subdivision regulation of the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code.
To amend section 174092 appeal procedure and to add section 174092.1 appeal hearing procedure to appendix 4 subdivision regulations of the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code, whereas section 602 enactment of the code permits the parish to make amended ordinance it may deem necessary and proper for good government, order, and protection of persons and property for the preservation of public health, safety, and welfare of the parish and its inhabitants. Whereas the Ascension Parish Council in the Parish of Ascension desires to amend 174092 appeal procedure and add 174092.1 appearing here procedure appendix 4 subdivision regulations of the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code. Now therefore be it ordained by the Ascension Parish Governing Authority of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, section 174092 and appeal procedure 174092.1 appeal hearing procedure to appendix 4 section subdivision regulations of the Ascension Parish Unified Land Development Code be amended and added further described as Exhibit A, attached to and made a part hereof. If any section, the subsection, the sentence, clause, phrase, or portion of this ordinance is for any reason held invalid or unconstitutional by any court of federal or state agency of competent jurisdiction, such portion shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provisions, and such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions hereof. The ordinance shall be in full effect as permitted by law. The ordinance has been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Motion.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Retired. Second by Ms. Cazzo.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Mr. Cazzo. I mean, Mr.
I'm not coy.
Cagliari.
Second.
Second by Mr.
I'll help you out on that one.
Chairman Dawson requested 2 amendments to this that y'all include.
I think Mr. Cluante was gonna accept that amendment, make the motion to, with the amendment, correct?
Who made the motion?
No, that's what to close the public hearing,
Okay,
correct?
I'll make the motion to approve with amendments. And does everybody have a copy of the amendments?
Yes.
No, any question? No objection? Motion? I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Ms. Cago, motion by Mr. Cluat, second by Ms. Cazo. No objection, the motion passed. Item number 28, reading of ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinance, Chapter 13, Occupation Licensing, Taxes and Regulation, Article 1 in general, to revoke Section 13-7, film permit.
Whereas the Parish of Ascension wishes to revoke Section 13-7, film permit of Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 13. Now therefore be it ordained by Ascension Parish, acting as the legislative authority for the Parish of Ascension, hereby revokes in its entirety Section 17-7, film permit of the Ascension Parish Code of Regulations, Chapter 13, Occupational License, Taxes and Regulations, Article 1 in general. In the event any portion of this ordinance is ever held invalid or unconstitutional by any reason by any court of competent jurisdiction over it, such portions shall be deemed separate, distinct, and independent provisions shall not affect the validity of remaining portions of the ordinance. The ordinance have been submitted to a vote. The vote thereon was as follows.
Motion to open public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Cagliari.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cluat.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Mr. Cagliari, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Ordinance.
Motion to move the ordinance.
All right, motion by Mr. Cagliari, second by Mr. Johnson. Got a question?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask the administration on the film ordinance, what are we doing with this? Why, if you can give the general public a general idea of what we're doing here.
The film ordinance was enacted during a time when there were different rules coming from state government.
Right.
When the actual credits were changed, that put the film industry in a situation where it's not as lucrative. To be able to negotiate, to possibly get something here, we need more flexibility to be able to make those negotiations since the credits changed. Even though the legislation was enacted during the last session that improved some things, they're still very new, and you're still trying to grow the business. Speaking to some people in the film industry, once those credits were released, the film industry picked up and moved out of Louisiana. So you got to be in a position to try to negotiate those things from a weaker position than you had when you had great credits.
I just want to make that clear to everyone and make it clear to the film industry that we're looking to negotiate and not run anybody off. Because we do have a rich filmmaking history in this parish for the sites and the beautiness and everything in the history of the parish.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? All right, motion, no objection? Motion.
Motion.
Okay, we have one question before we move to item 31.
Really
Mr. Lawrence.
Just a statement. This has probably been the best meeting we've had in, 9 months.
Yes.
That's all I had to say.
This will be the last one, too.
When you do a root cause analysis on it, you see what's changed in this meeting based on last meeting.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Previous meetings.
It's excellent.
Mr. Cluat.
Just real quick before we go home, I want to once more, like Parish President says, remind everybody about the Balloon Festival. It's if you haven't made it there, go for a couple hours. It's exciting. And I don't know if I'm going to make it there 5 in the morning, but I might be there 5 tomorrow evening.
It's really 4:30 when you have to be there.
Oh, you have to be there at 4:30? I can guarantee you I'm not going to be there.
Motion to adjourn, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, motion by Mr. Cagliari, second by Mr. Lawrence. Motion adjourned.